Hello, and thank you very much for inviting me here to how to be at your very best to deliver your best without burning out, part of the UP Zürich series this Mental Health Awareness Month. My name is Martin Daubney. I work for and in Inspire Coaching, a coaching company based in Basel, and we specialize in helping people and teams perform at the very best, delivering the very best, and avoiding burnout, which seems to be rather too prevalent these days. I also call it Clear Your Head to Get Ahead, which is incidentally the title of my book, available at all good online retailers. So let's talk about energy, expanding our energy capacity. Why is energy important? Well, I don't know if you're anything like me. You probably are, human beings. We expend energy, we take energy in, we allow energy to pass through us, and in fact, we radiate energy from our heart and our brains that can be measured up to 2 meters outside of us in all directions. Through this energy, we make sense of the world, and the world generally is energetic. So energy coming to us informs us as what's going on, and then the energetic systems within us help us navigate and do what we need to do, essentially, to survive in that world. If you've ever played with one of those toys where it's got little touch sensitive buttons on them to make a song happen as well, you'll really recognize that the energy is passing through that toy to us and just making fun. So let it be known, medically, with electrocardiograms, electroencephalograms, EEGs and ECGs, we are using energy all the time and the smartwatches to pick up signals, energetic signals, to turn them into some sort of meaning and make sense of how we do what we do. Now, energy is part of the resilience equation. So resilience has been looked at. If you think of the word resilience, it actually came from physical science. It's how resilient is this piece of metal? How resilient is this piece of brick or concrete or whatever? As does stress. I mean, how much can you stress this piece of metal or stretch an elastic band before it breaks? So stress and resilience have been mapped over into the human condition. And behavioral scientists and others working in this field have now redefined resilience as the capacity actually to prepare for, recover from, and then adapt in the face of stress and challenges or adversity. Used to be it was just a matter of bouncing back. I'm resilient. I've gone through this and now bounce back. And it's actually we're thinking more in terms of capacity to prepare as well as recover. And you can build your resilience capacity much like putting money in a bank account or putting credit in a credit card or whatever it is. You build a reserve of resilience, and then that way you have much more of that capacity, the energetic capacity to deal with those challenges and therefore not burnt out at the end of them. It's a way to reduce and prevent stress buildup. You can sustain your energy much more, and then you feel and ultimately perform much better. And if you think about the energy balance, there's this constant flow of energy expenditure. We give it out without that balance, without the adequate rest and recovery, it can lead to poorer health, diminished resilience. Then you get the negative effects of all that, which is stress, and then burnout, and ultimately other health challenges. But self-regulation, which is what we're going to look at, and I'll take you through at the end of this presentation, self-regulation is a way of expending energy, and it's key for that optimal health and key for that better performance. So you start with self-regulation, but you probably start with self-awareness. And the first step to this is being aware of how I am right now, and then shifting if it's not supporting you in the way you'd like it to support you. More of that in a second. So emotions really affect our physiology far more than just our thoughts. Hang on a minute, Martin, what on earth does that mean? Well, our thoughts are fairly high up the chain of command, and a thought becomes a behavior. But I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've thought you might like to do something, but then chosen not to. It's because you have an emotional override, or you, more likely the other way, I shouldn't have that chocolate, but emotionally I want one, and your emotion overrides the thought again, and you end up having the chocolate. So emotions are primary drivers of all the activity in our major body systems. The behavior that you see with someone from, or the behavior you exhibit to someone, is triggered by a thought. That bit we just established. And the thought is informed by the feeling. So you experience a feeling. That's the actual expression of the emotion that's driving the feeling. So it comes up: emotion, feeling, thought, behavior. And all of the thought, feeling, emotional stuff is happening within inside us. You can't see it. It's the behavior that is exhibited that people can see and make an assessment of how you are through. So they also, thoughts, emotions also determine our level of engagement in life's events and what motivates us and how we spend our energy. You know, if I really love doing something, I actually can be energized by it. If I really don't like doing something, it takes energy away from me. So emotions are part of that equation. So let's have a look at some of the long-term effects of emotions and attitudes. There are emotions that can take away our energy, depleting emotions. And if you say, oh, hello, if you look at depleting emotions, if you're sitting in those, can give you health issues. They can really have some significant long-term health issues. You get brain cell death and then naturally impaired memory. It will accelerate your aging, impair the mental function, and overall diminish your performance. If you're sitting in that, if you know someone who you would describe as being relatively negative, you might see some of these in that person. But if you can switch that, and you can because you're a human, if you switch that to more renewing emotions, those that fuel us, those that recharge our inner batteries, the actual opposite is true. You actually have an increase length of life. And it's not just living or being alive. You're actually living because you're in better health. You have an increased resilience, tolerance to resilience, and increased resilience to adversity. So when things don't go quite well, then you get over it better. Your memory's improved. You have an enhanced intuition and become more creative. And crucially, in the workplace, you are much more better placed to perform well and achieve more, and without a huge amount of effort either. So let's have a look at some of the things that deplete us. The inner battery guy on the left-hand side, he's flat out here. There's a stress or workload. Most people experience a lot of work. Work will always be there, and sadly, you're never going to catch up. It's one of those things that work fills the time available. But if we have too much and we don't take a break and we don't stop and we don't have a breathe, we've become overwhelmed by it. But what do? And I know this from my experience, waking up and being overwhelmed by stuff, but we push through. And bizarrely, the harder we push through, the more mistakes we make. It's one of those bizarre things. So I was given the advice to just back off, don't try so hard. And things started to improve. But they were so important. Anyway, overwhelm, we push through. It doesn't actually solve anything. Then as a solopreneur, as someone who works by himself, computer problems. When I was working in industry, if I had a computer problem, just phone up the IT department and they'd come and swap something out. Here, sometimes it's taken me a full day to resolve a small problem on my computer. That's a day lost. So computer problems definitely will cause an emotional response of frustration. And then what do? Well, what can you do but complain? And then finding stressor can be from finding money to pay bills, and that increases the anxiety. And maybe your way out of that is to find a second job to bring more money in. But then job security, that's another thing. And certainly in the Basel area and the organizations around here, there is such a flux of people being organized out of the organization. But if you're in the organization, there's this looping worry that it could happen to you soon. And that gives you a slow burn. None of it is very good. The emotional significance of all that is that what we need to understand is that the event itself is irrelevant. It happened. It's outside. It doesn't actually affect us. It's how we interpret that event that makes a difference to how we feel and our energy. So what we see outside, we make sense of. We're always doing this, and we make sense of it in all sorts of ways. A lot of it based on our values and belief systems that we grew up with. But there's an event. It happens. It's outside. It's shocking. It's horrible. Well, I can choose several things. I can choose to be shocked and horrified, or I can choose to get at some fantastic learning from it, or something else. It's the emotional importance or significance that we attach to that or assign to the issue that causes the energy drain. Much like you go to the supermarket to buy some bananas, but they shifted where they put the bananas. Well, what does a banana? Oh, it's so frustrating because I really care about bananas. But you get the point. If you only take one thing away from this, and it's important where they put the bananas, please don't take that as that's not what the message is. There's an exercise at the end of this. I'll take you through it and you'll see what I mean. So let's have a look at energy renewal situation. So outside right now, it's a bit cloudy, but on a warm, sunny day last weekend, warm and sunny, wow, my goodness, the emotional response to that was peaceful, calm. It was joyful. It was an opportunity to get out and do stuff outside of the house, breathing fresh air. When you've got a task on that you need to accomplish, and when you finished it, wow, did that, and it's a good job, feel proud about that. That's energy renewal. A neighbor or a friend has done something that's nice for you. In fact, my wife's just come back from a supermarket, seen a neighbor, and they've invited us down for barbecue on Sunday. That's lovely. Full of gratitude for that, especially if they got English sausages. You studied for a test, and not only do you feel more confident about it, but you've actually aced it. You've got the marks you needed, feeling good. That is energy renewal. As there's ticking something off your list, if you're a list maker and you like to achieve things and you tick something off your list, finished a project, the relief, the satisfaction, all energy renewal. And just chatting with someone, that human connection, we all need it, we all love it, we all crave it. And when you get it, that energy is energy renewal. So all these things are available to you to restack your inner battery and recharge your fuel cells. The key thing, though, is self-regulation. The key to having more energy is to regulate yourself. And as a human being, you are able to do this in bucket loads. You're not on the savannah. You're not in the jungle. You're not reacting to stuff. You have the opportunity to respond. And to have more energy, the key bit to have more energy is to be aware of where you are and what you're doing. So check in with yourself. What's it like to be you right now? How are you feeling? Where do you feel it? What are the thoughts that's going on? Are they draining you? Are they renewing you? And the more you become aware, the more self-awareness you have, the more you'll be able to stop yourself from being triggered and flowing into that state that will truly drain you. I can't tell you the number of people who have been in meetings and that they find that the culture of the meeting is frustrating, is draining. They have meetings, and I spoke to someone earlier today that is typical, and this is in one company. I've spoken to other people in other companies. It's typical you have people who like the sound of their own voice, and they will cross talk, and no one can hear anything about it. And typically it's the leader of the group who'll say, enough, stop, 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 because there's some hierarchical thing going on. Actually, it's up to everybody to say stop. You're training others how to treat you. That's another topic. But in that moment when there's absolutely nothing going on and nothing being heard, everyone else is feeling frustrated. Everyone is feeling angry that their time is being wasted. It's disrespectful. So the key is to having more energy is to regulate that, to recognize the frustration and the anger and take steps there, right there in that room to change it. And you can do that. And I will show you that in a moment. Self-regulation is that in the inability to self-regulation is actually central to most of the stress, health, relationship issues, that's communication issues, and social problems that plague modern society. the most important strength that you can do right now and benefit from is building the capacity to more effectively self-regulate your emotions, your attitudes, and your behavior. And one of the key things that's going to really, really help you is when you have that attitude, ask yourself if you're judging, if your judger has come up and making an assessment. If it has, see if you can turn that judgment into a learner and then see whether or not that shifts things as well. But really, it's vitally important that you take stock to self-know, be self-aware, and then self-regulate your energy for maximum output and minimum burnout. Here's a very, very interesting chart. And if you look across the bottom, you get the time in days from 0 to 60 days. And it's a breakdown of how energized we can be in any situation for a new project, for example. And if you look over on the left-hand side there, well, you see a blue line and a red line. So let's have a look at the red line first of all. You embrace the challenge and your performance improves. It's typical that this happens with most new things. The newness of it is enough to give you enough energy to get going on it. The curiosity to find out a little bit more, the desire to show that you can. But know that this lasts probably about 10 days, 10, 11 days. Overlapping that is your period of maximum proficiency, your maximum efficiency. And that can last anything up to 30 days. So maybe another 20 days on top of that. So you're at your absolute best if you don't take any breaks for 30 days. 30 days continuous stretch will have you at your best. And if it's a short-term project, yeah, go for it. If it's something that you know is going to be a bit longer and take a longer slog, then listen up. Because after that 25, 28, 30 days, your hyper-reactive stage comes in and you're not actually performing, but you're starting to get a bit stressed and you're reacting rather than responding, and continue on that path. And the exhaustion comes in and you will stop. And I've known several people in one particular company whose project deadline kept on shifting, and it just led to total exhaustion and burnout for several members of the team. So don't go there. The thing to do is to take regular breaks, and regular, I mean daily, and breaks, I mean a few minutes. It's not like you need to take a half day off every week in order to recharge. You can do this a few times a day and feel more recharged than if you don't do it at all. And the blue line is from this study, as you can see at the bottom, development of combat exhaustion. The benefit is that you can have a period of maximum efficiency for a lot longer without burning out. Here's how. It's about generating the state of inner ease. The state of inner ease offsets the rushed energy, so you can have a much more balanced rhythm. So your autonomic nervous system is in balance rather than always in the stress state. It's a state of active calm, and yet you're still alert. It's a very focused and moving at the speed of effectiveness. So don't think of calmness as being zenned out. And actually, calmness brings you the opportunity to think more clearly, to, as I put it, clear your head and to get ahead without burning out. The inner ease technique creates this moment of choice. So you can take a wiser choice, and even in rapidly changing situations, when you get practice at this, and this is the difference between knowing, which you will do after this, and doing, the doers will be able to do this sort of thing in the moment. And the more you practice it, the more you'll just habitually do it without even thinking about it. And then people would be amazed. Oh my goodness, how did they do that? In stating an inner rhythm of ease allows us to create flow. You know that state where everything's come together and you go, wow, that's amazing. How did that work? Well, because you're in that inner state of flow. So what I encourage you to do right now is to close your eyes This takes away any visual distractions. If you're driving or operating heavy machinery, I don't think that's a good idea. So keep your eyes open on those situations. But for everybody else sat safely in a nice quiet place, close your eyes and just focus your attention in the area of your heart. And imagine, I know it's not possible, but just imagine that your breath is flowing in and out of your heart, or maybe your chest area. To help you focus your attention in the area of your heart, maybe you'd like to put your hand over your heart, and that remind you to keep your focus there. Sometimes our mind wanders, and that's okay. And you can remind yourself to refocus in the heart or chest area and breathe a little bit slower and a little bit deeper than you might usually do. So it's belly breathing, slow and deep, at a nice, easy rhythm that's truly comfortable for you. And I'll let you do that for 2 or 3 breaths to allow you to get out of your head and into your heart. With each breath, draw in that feeling of inner ease, calmness, to balance your mental and emotional energy. Maybe you can feel that flooding every cell of your body. And as you feel that feeling, set a meaningful intent to anchor this feeling of inner ease as you engage in your projects, your challenges, and daily interactions. The wonderful thing about anchors is that you're able to recall this state of inner ease really, really quickly. But if you can't, breathe it in, close your eyes, slow your breathing down into your belly. Nice and easy, bring in that state of inner ease and feel it all over again. Okay. Well, thank you for doing that. You know, the inner ease technique isn't something that's just done and forgotten. It's one of those things that you can repeat and repeat and repeat until it becomes part of who you are. And when you do, and it is part of who you are, you'll find your performance goes up and your resilience increases and your thinking improves and your sleep improves. Your diet improves, your relationships improve. And in fact, you start to realize you're living a much calmer life and still getting results quicker. I hope that's been helpful for you. Now, my name's Martin Daubney. I'm from Inspire Coaching in Basel. We help people be at their very best every day without burning out. And again, once again, thank you UP Zürich for hosting this series of events. And I look forward to seeing all of you again soon. Bye for me.